In post-fertilization events, after the formation of endosperm, the second important event that we have is embryogenesis. That is development of embryo. Development of embryo. How does this embryo development take place? Prior to this, there is some event which have taken place, and that event is syngamy. Syngamy was nothing but male and female gamete fusion. So fusion of male and female gamete gave us zygote, and from zygote embryo develops. Now you should know the position of this zygote. If you can remember, if this is the embryo sac, and under the ovule we have chalazal end and micropylar end. After the fertilization, we have the zygote here, and we will have central cell here. Okay, so towards the micropylar end, the zygote is lying. Now this zygote, which is towards the micropylar end, once the embryogenesis begins, it will undergo one transverse division. Transverse division, giving rise to one terminal cell and one basal cell. Terminal cell and basal cell. Few of the things that I am telling you are not found in your textbooks. They are generally mentioned, the important points only. So I am explaining few details, some points in detail, which are not found, but some are helpful to you. And therefore the zygote undergoes transverse division, giving rise to terminal cell and basal cell. Now one thing you should remember here is, this terminal cell is going to give rise to the embryo. Okay. This terminal cell will give rise to the main part of the embryo. Now basal cell is the support cell. Later on it also will become part of embryo, but it supports the embryo. Now what happens? We have the terminal cell and the basal cell. Now this basal cell will undergo successive, let's say we have this terminal cell. This basal cell will start dividing, undergoing transverse division, mainly like this, and it will end up with small globe like this. And this is called as ostoria, and these cells are called as suspensor. You know, in bikes we have this suspensor, that means shock absorber, to make sure that the person who is sitting on the seat does not experience any shocks because of the roads. Now some similar function is carried out by this suspensor. So we have the basal cell give rise to suspensor and ostoria, and here the division takes place as usual. Repeated mitotic division takes place. So we have the division. Now once this division is taking place, the first stage of embryogenesis will give rise to an embryo which is in globular, that means round in structure, and therefore it is globular embryo. So during the embryogenesis, embryo will get into different shapes, especially three main shapes, and the first step is globular. And here one point you should remember is the function of ostoria. The function of ostoria. What is the function of ostoria? The function is, it will push the main embryo deep into the endosperm. How? Should go to this. Here already this division is taking place, and already endosperm is formed. Already endosperm is ready, and here there is embryo, and transverse division, if it takes like this, this is the main embryo, this is the suspensor. Now ostoria is here. Now ostoria, what does it do? It will push this part of the embryo into the endosperm. Why? So that this embryo will get sufficient nourishment. This embryo has to get sufficient nourishment, and therefore that is the main function of this ostoria. Now there are many other changes are taking place. We are not going to study all that. Then later on, after many changes, this globular structure will finally give rise to a structure called as something like this, and it will have these suspensors. Again, suspensor will be there. Let's say like this, and ostoria also will be there. But what happens? There is certain change in the shape of the embryo. It becomes heart shaped. Becomes heart shaped. It is a shortcut. There are many processes are taking place. I'm not going to explain all that. So already cells are present here, heart shaped, and this part is called as the plumule. Plumule. That means it is the future shoot. Future shoot, and from here this part will become the radical part later on. Okay, this becomes a radical part. Now this is the second shape, that is the heart shape. Heart shape. Now here later on, in the next step, the growth of this part and this part increases, whereas here there is no growth, and therefore what happens is here this becomes the cotyledon, and it keeps growing, and here also it keeps growing like this, and then again this also starts growing, and here also we get this one. Okay, it starts bending. So therefore two cotyledons are getting developed, and this shape is called as, this stage of embryo is called as horseshoe shape. Horseshoe. It looks like horseshoe, and therefore this embryo is referred to as horseshoe shaped embryo. After the horseshoe shaped embryo, we get finally the mature embryo. Mature embryo will have two cotyledons. Will have big cotyledons, and let's say this one. So this part is the plumule, and we will get this one. So these are the two cotyledons, and this will be the plumule. So this will be almost the final mature embryo. Now when you take an embryo, it usually has got an axis called as embryonal axis. So this entire axis is called as embryonal axis. And on this embryonal axis, there are cotyledons will be there. It is a dicot one. The region above the cotyledon is called as epicotyle. The region lying above the cotyledon is called as the epicotyle, and the region lying below the cotyledon is called as hypocotyle. Hypocotyle. Now this epicotyle will eventually terminate in plumule. Plumule. Okay, that means it is a shoot, and this hypocotyle will finally terminate in radical, which is the root system. The root system, and therefore whenever we talk about embryonal axis will contain these cotyledons and epicotyle and hypocotyle, which will eventually give rise to plumule and radical, or the shoot and root system. It is the shoot and root system. This is in dicot embryos. This is also in dicot embryo. Whereas in monocot, it is slightly different. In monocot, it has got only one cotyledon, and monocot cotyledon is called as scutellum. Scutellum. So the monocot, the one cotyledon is there present in monocots, it is called as scutellum. And similar type here also, it will have embryonal axis. Here what happens, it will have one cotyledon, and this will be called as scutellum. The entire cotyledon is called as scutellum. And in monocots, the shoot system and the root, shoot and the root, that means plumule and radicle, will be covered by sheath, will be covered by particular sheath. Let's say if this is just to continue, if this is the cotyledon, and let's say like this, the plumule part will be here, primordial, and the coleorhiza will be here. Now this is the plumule, and this plumule will be covered by a sheath, and that is called as, the sheath covering the plumule is called as coleoptile. The sheath covering the plumule is called coleoptile, and the sheath that is covering the radicle, the can't see it, so I will draw a little on top. The sheath that is covered by covering the radicle, that is called as coleorhiza. Coleorhiza. And here we have the radicle. So that is the radicle. So the difference is, here there are two cotyledons, here there is only one cotyledon, and that single cotyledon in monocot is called as scutellum, and in its axis it has got same epicotyle and hypocotyle. The changes that we have is, here the plumule will be covered by a special sheath, that is called as coleoptile, and the radicle will be covered by a sheath called as coleorhiza. So this is the embryo here we find, and also similarly embryo is found in monocots, which will finally later on will give rise to the future plant.